Okay, so now if we've done our door legend, it's going to be easy. If you understood how to do the door legend, it's going to be easy to understand how to do the window legend and the window schedule. So the first thing we're going to do is just look at our windows and make sure they're numbered the way we want them to be numbered. So windows are a little bit different than doors. Doors, every instance of a door gets its own unique number, right? So every time you place a door, it gets a number. Windows, we do a little differently. If I look back at the example, let's look at our middle school. Let's go to a floor plan. You'll see that if a window is the exact same dimension and style as the other windows, we just label them all the same on the floor plan. We don't try to locate each window based on its room. So the window label does not correspond to the room number or anything. It's just, if it's the same window, we give it the same label. So these are all type P windows. So if I went to the window legend and looked up type P, I'd know what it looks like. That's a type S window. And then these windows must be a little bit different than these ones. So let's just look at O and P. So let's go to our window legend and look up O and P. So window types, let's start here. And we're looking for O. So that's going to be on the next sheet probably. O and P. So they are slightly different. The mullion, the sill height's different, and the way the mullion is on the window is different, but the widths are the same. So now I can see this window and this window, and we can see what it looks like and where it goes on the building. In the residential window schedule, I chose to do it a different way on my plans. I chose to put where it's located, what its type is, and then its width and height. So we're going to do a little bit of a hybrid. Again, the reason I show you these examples is to show you that whatever we do in class is just one way of doing something. You might work for a firm that does it a different way, and I just want you to know that it's possible that there's different ways of looking at it. The end goal is to simply try to get the contractor to understand what the window looks like and where it goes. So there are different ways of going about doing that. So for our project, we're going to do the same thing. If the windows are the same, we'll give them the same label on the floor plan. And we're not going to try to bother to differentiate their locations. We're going to let the contractor see on the floor plan where they go, and on the exterior elevations, it'll also show where they go. So let's look here. These two windows are exactly the same window, and you can see they're labeled the same. So that's good. And then all my other windows, it looks like each one is a different window. That's a different size than that one, than that one, than that one. So we have a lot of different windows on this house, at least in my example. Yours might look a little different if you did the doors differently than I did, or the windows differently than I did. But do we like the numbers? Like, what do these numbers mean? Like, why is it 26 and 55? Those are just Revit defaults. So we're going to think about this, and we're going to renumber these. We could use, if we use numbers for the doors, maybe we can use letters for the windows. So I'm going to click on this window, and let's just start with, actually, let's use numbers. I'm going to use 1. And it's telling me you're changing a type parameter. So that means for all instances of this window, it's going to match. You're going to change that parameter for all instances of that window. So we're going to click yes. And you can see it changed this one because they're the same window. So let's pick, let's say this is window 2, type 2. Yes. And we'll call this window type 3. Yes, we know we're changing a type parameter. So this is one way of changing it. I'm just changing it with the tag. But when I remember, the tag is linked to the properties of the window. So if I click on the window and I look at its type properties, if I go down to type mark, you can see it changed it to 3. So instead of me having to click the window and go in the type parameters, I can just click on the tag and then change it there. Everything's linked. All right, so this will be 4. This will be 5. And this will be 6. There we go. So now all of our windows have their type marks. So now we can, now that we've labeled everything correctly on the floor plan, we can now build the schedule. So let's go into View and go to the Schedule column and click Schedule. Now this time, instead of choosing Door as the category, we're going to choose Window down at the bottom. Click OK. And now it's going to ask us, what properties do you want to show? So let's think about this. We can look at my example. We don't want the room. We just, in fact, we don't have a room to label it with, or we don't have a number like we did the doors. Each window isn't individually numbered. So we're probably just going to start with the type, and then we'll do a width and height. And I don't even think we need the action for this project, because it'll be obvious in our legend what kind of action it is. So we're just going to do 3 columns, type, width, and height. So let's do that for now. So if you remember, for the type, it is a type mark is the name of the parameter. And again, let me cancel out. If you wanted to figure that out, if you didn't know how to schedule this number, all you would do is click on the window. You'd go in its type parameters and you'd look for 3. So which one of these has a value of 3? Oh, it's the type mark. That's the name of the parameter that we want to display on the schedule. So we'll just click out of there and we'll go back to View, Schedule. And let's redo that. We want Window. And the name will be Window Schedule, but let's do cap locks. All caps. Window Schedule. And click OK. So the first thing we want is the type mark. We just found that. Then we want the width. Whoops. Type mark. Then width. So we'll add it with this little button. And then we want the height. Right there. So there are other parameters. If you wanted to add the sill height onto the schedule, you could do that. We could also add comments. That's probably good. Let's put comments on there in case we have comments at the end. And click OK. And now it'll build our schedule. Let's tile our view. So now we can see what we're talking about over here. And if you, just so you know, if you're on a schedule view, if you hold down the control button and scroll your wheel, you can make it bigger if you don't like the default zoom of your schedule. So again, we're gonna edit the column heads. This will just be type, and then I want them all capitalized. So we'll do width, height, and comments. So you can see everything's already filled out for you now. Because we went through and we already changed the type parameters for each window, it's already named them the correct type. And it's already filled in the width and the height. And if we have any comments, we could make comments. So now that we've done that, we'll just exit out of our window schedule. We'll zoom out, we'll double click outside of our view to deactivate the floor plan. And we're just going to place our window schedule. So let's find where it put our schedule. So if we go to schedules, window schedule right here, drag that, and we can drop it right here. So now here's our window schedule. So the only thing we don't have information about is what does the type mean? We need to show the contractor what the different types are. So we're going to create a window legend. So let's go to legend. So views, and then we're going to create legend. And we'll call this window legend. We'll do a 1/4 inch scale and click OK. And again, we have a blank canvas. So let's tile the views again, because I'm going to need to be able to reference my floor plan. So let's start with type 1. So that is a colonial fixed window 30-inch or 3060. So 3 feet 0 inches by 6 feet 0 inches. So a 3060 is how you would read that. And so we're just going to go over here, annotate legend component, and we're going to do window. So it'll be down at the bottom. Windows colonial fixed 30. What did I say? 3060. 3060, this door or this window right here. Click. And we can show, again, if you click the legend, you can show the inside or the outside. So if we show the back side, it looks like that on the inside, or we can show the exterior view, which is the front side. So I'm just going to show the front. Let's just make sure we got that right. That was 3060. And is that right here? 3060, yes. So now let's do number 2, which is, I called this window colonial fixed big front window. So let's look for that one. We'll do a legend component. And we're looking for big front window. Right there. Window colonial fixed big front window. So that's this one here. So we'll click that and place it. And for this exercise, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll let you finish your project. But for now that we have 2, let's just line them up so they look nice. And let's draw our detail line that represents the floor. And what I like to do is I actually like to place the legend component the right distance from the floor. So if I click on here, and I look over here and I see my seal height, I can see window 1 is 2 feet off the ground, and the big front window is 1.6 feet off the ground. So I'm going to click on my legend component, and it doesn't give me temporary dimensions. So I'm going to pull my own dimension. And the seal starts right here. So I'm going to click and put a dimension here. I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to click on this. And these windows are 2 feet off the ground, and this one was 1.6 feet off the ground. So I'm going to make my legend component that way. I'm actually going to show that sill height. So you can do it a different way. You could put the sill height in the column in your schedule, or you can draw it like this. I like to do this for mine. We can also add some text here. It says window legend. And we'll highlight it and we'll bold it and underline it like we did the other. And then I'm going to kind of move it. I'm going to assume there's going to be more windows. So for now, I'm just going to put that there. And I'm going to put more text underneath each one. So that's type 1. This is type 2. I'm just going to put it right here in the center. And there we go. There's my legend. I'm going to exit out of there, and I'm going to double click to deactivate the view on my sheet. And I'm going to go find my window legend, and I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to drop it under there, and I'm going to click it, and I'm going to take off the view title. And now I have my window legend and my door legend and my schedules. So you'll go ahead and finish your window legend so that it corresponds with your window schedule. But that is how you do the window schedule and door legend.